Hi, and welcome to Read Becca. It has been a week. As of last week, right after I talked to you guys last, I found a mass on my dog and had to take him into the vet to get it checked out. And it turned out to be something that is pretty fast moving, so had to very quickly get him in for surgery. So he has been into surgery and had the mass removed. It unfortunately is a small dog, so he had a section about 3 inches taken from his upper thigh, and that is about the entire length of his thigh because he's a small dog. So he is very much staying indoors and recovering, not moving around a whole lot, and he's not quite back to himself. So we're keeping it very low key and getting some reading time in this weekend. But because of that, all the stress that was going on, my reading pretty much moved to a standstill last weekend while that was going on, and then into the entire week this week. So I was working on my Women Write Classic SFF readathon when that came up, and kind of adjusted my plans. So my final work that I read for that was Shambleau by C.L. Moore, and I picked that because it's a novelette length work, and I needed something short because I was obviously not able to focus and get a lot of reading done. So I read that. I also finished up the 2 works I previously talked about, which were Lud-in-the-Mist by Mirrlees and Herland by Perkins Gilman. And I have already also wrapped up that entire readathon, so I will link that down below if you'd like to hear more about those books. I did read more of The Disposessed as well. I did not finish it for that readathon. So I think I have 30 or 40 pages left on it, but I'm kind of trying to keep to reading that when I can really focus and absorb it and taking my time with it. So I just haven't been picking it up at all this week because I just don't have that focus. During all of that as well, I had just started The Echo Wife by Sarah Gailey and was really enjoying it, was flying through it. I think I read half of it during a single day and was enjoying it so much, but then all of this hit and my reading slowed way down, and so I read maybe 10 pages a night every night during the week and was progressing very slowly through it. I was realistically, you know what I was doing? I was binging the Great American Baking Show Holiday Edition instead. So I did continue on reading The Echo Wife, and I did finish it the other day, and I absolutely loved it. It was a 5-star read for me. It is not as much of a thriller as I had expected. So it uses the thriller framing, but focuses in more on kind of slow and thought-provoking sci-fi elements. And the main character, Evelyn, she is a scientist, she is working on cloning, but it takes those elements to focus in on the way that the world treats women, and particularly the experience of women in abusive relationships. So she has had an abusive father and an abusive husband, and one chapter, I mean, it was like 75% in, and I was going through this chapter where it's almost entirely introspective. She's thinking about how she resents her mother and thinking about the things that she tried to actively reject and push away and keep from developing the qualities that her mother had in herself. And then she's thinking about qualities in herself that come from her father. And through this chapter, I just kept highlighting, like, I think I highlighted the entire chapter almost. It was just, hit after hit after hit of these quotes that just really delved into the heart of what it was trying to get at. So loved the book. It had so much to say and did it so smartly that I absolutely will be picking up a copy because I read this on ebook from my library. So Loved that one, highly recommend it. After that, so I finished that, I think last night. I started this morning on Winter's Orbit by Everina Maxwell, and I kind of expected it would have a really quirky tone because it was originally published as a web serial, and to kind of draw and keep that audience, I knew it would have a certain level of writing, and it really does. The characterization is just great. So I'm enjoying that so much already. It's fantastic, so I will be keeping on with that one, Winter's Orbit. And then on audio and in print, I am still working on the Aeronaut's Windlass. I've kind of leaned more toward the audio now. Keeping up in print, it's not grabbing me as much. I don't care about the details entirely. Unfortunately, I had commented before that I'm enjoying this more than Dresden Files, and I still am, but it's falling into some of the traps that I have noticed before, where there is this whole weird element where we have basically these two teenage girls on a mission with these adult men and a cat, and the girls are really dumb. They just are pretty incompetent and naive. And the book plays it as they do dumb things and happen to get lucky and have success with them, but the book treats that as everyone seeing them as, or not everyone seeing, it's not in context, but the book treats it as that is competence. So it's just, I don't get it. They're not great characters. It's very clear that the male characters are a lot better written than the women. But I'm enjoying particularly the cat characters. They're great, and the plot is entertaining. So that's about all I expected of it. So those are what I am continuing on with. I seem to be reading a little bit more this week versus last week, so I think I'm doing better on progress, and I kind of hope that I will be able to make some good progress in Winter's Orbit and then pick up Sorrowland by River Solomon, because I have that to finish up in a couple weeks before it is published the first week of May. So we will be hanging out indoors and not doing a whole lot for this weekend. I expect I will hopefully get some good reading in. Well, thank you all for taking the time out to check in with me. I hope you all are doing well and having a great weekend, and hopefully your reading is going a little better than mine has this week. Thanks all for watching. Like and subscribe.